The revolution isn't being televised. It's not being televised, but it's going down. Notice in the news, like I said, they don't talk about what's going on in Nepal. How they crunched up their government because they weren't handling business right. And they got them about the mix. America's not talking about it at all. They said it was a social media ban, and they were just getting a little rambunctious. But no, they were deleting. I hate that I have to use these little stupid terms. They were killing their own government members. Fuck it, fuck it. Say whatever the fuck I want. They were killing their members of the their representatives in the government. They got them the fuck out of there because they were trash. And now you're seeing it in Mexico. They ain't talking about what's going on in Mexico. You gotta know a Spanish guy. You gotta see it on their page. Because ain't nobody talking about it. That tribalist bitch, they're getting her ass right up out the mix. America's gonna go have to save that bitch. And they're saying the words, they're putting the crosses, you know what I'm saying, crosses. They're putting them shits on the walls, they're busting caps, they're tearing down walls, they're beating the shit out of cops. It's going down in Mexico. And then you got what's going on with the digital ID. That's right, Jack and Dandies. Apple's integrating the digital ID into their phones. UK's created the digital ID in their country. Italy's doing it, but what's going on in Italy? It's been happening for at least 2 months or a month and a half. The people are just tapping out of the system. They don't need to use violence. You don't have to use violence. I'll always promote GTG, but you don't have to promote violence. You vote with your dollar, and that's what they're doing in Italy, and they're choking out the system. Because they don't want to go along with this. Because once you make it digital, the person who controls the servers controls the people and their access to society. And nobody wants to be put in that position. That's why in America, the FBAs, Tariq Nasheed, Marcus Torres talks about this, how black Americans' grandmas have a photo album. And they'll have niggas' birth certificates, social security cards, and all this shit in there. Everything from the family so that they can control the narrative. They can control their paperwork. Because they know how crazy it is when they go into a fucking place and they don't got their fucking paperwork. And if you don't have it, especially if you're black, they tell you to go eat 13 different dicks. Because we can't really do that. I'm gonna keep it real, Jagged Dennis. We can't really do that. Sometimes I don't got my shit. I gotta go down to the office and go through all these changes and talk to this motherfucker and fill out that paperwork and do this. The FBA, he'll call his fucking mom, he'll call his grandma, his auntie. One of them niggas got it. I think it's at your uncle's house. It's at Peach's house. They got the shit, they get the deal going. Get the fucking paperwork, mail it to them, and get it on. Then you gotta fill out the paperwork, wait 3 motherfucking weeks like I gotta do right now. Huh? But that's beside the point. The point is, this digital ID shit is here. And while, say, algorithm is on paper the answer, nobody's gonna be making these small independent societies. And you saw what they did in Waco. So if it becomes effective, they'll just Waco all you niggas. And you know it, because they did it in Waco and they did it in Idaho. And they did it in Philadelphia to the Push organization. So you already know that algorithm isn't going to work. Algorithm, whatever. You know that's not going to work. Your best option is to vote with your dollar and cash out, and not cash out. Not participate in the system until they choke and they stop doing it. Because I said, voting doesn't work. You either GTG, you vote with your dollar. Two of the biggest things that they despise. They love the voting rituals and all that other pointless, stupid, ineffective crap. That's why they allowed the black American to vote. That's why they gave them voting rights immediately. Now the blacks were strategically using it in a way they didn't expect way back there during Reconstruction. And that's why they created, that's one of the many reasons they created Jim Crow laws. But at the end of the day, they've created a system where voting is meaningless. You've got handpicked individual puppets, and you get to choose which one you want. Ain't no more Ross Perot's out here. Ain't no more none of that shit. And they're not going to allow you to have a new deal, a new deal. That's not going to happen. If you do, it'll be the most counterproductive shit ever. It'll be word salad, and people are going to look at the details and realize that it's absolutely nothing. Now, they're not going to dismantle everything. The only reason they gave you everything is so that they could slowly dismantle it. And having had experienced it, you'll know what it's like to have had it. And then they can just dangle the quote-unquote option of bringing it back if you vote for them. They might bring it back. They might codify Roe v. Wade into law. Maybe. Well, hell, it's over 4 fucking years, Jackie Dandy. It ain't coming back. Gutting the voting rights out. They've been gutting that shit since Obama. No, since George H.W. Bush. That piece of shit. They've been gutting it since him and that piece of shit Cheney. Rest in peace, you fucking scumbag. They've been gutting it since then. They ain't bringing that shit back. They're chopping up them black voting districts right now. They're chopping them up right now. And you want to know why they're doing that? They're going to fuck them over anyway, but they don't want niggas fighting back. However that may be. And so since they're doing it this way, that's the law. It allows me to do this. Then they go, oh, damn, man, any motherfucking shit, motherfucker. And then they just get away with it. And there's nothing you can do. Quote unquote. And that's how it works with this digital ID shit. That's how it works. Because they try to make it seem convenient, but it's control. One quote-unquote convenience at a time. Comes off as a new, nice little update. Look at all these fucking updates over the years where it's this little random feature and that little random feature and this little random feature, then boom, all kinds of shit become pay for play. And then the most expensive version was just the original version that you got 20 fucking years ago. See, this shit's a Trojan horse, like I keep saying, and they just want to have your ID. They want to control every aspect of society. Like I said, right now, voting with your dollar is your best option to stop this shit. Because they don't like it when you do that. They don't want you opting out of the system en masse. They don't want you going around here spreading awareness about what's going on in Nepal, what's going on in Mexico. They don't want you talking about that shit. They don't want you talking about what the cartels are doing in Chicago to ICE. They're keeping that out the media too. See, they want to keep all this shit under wraps. And if somebody brings it up, they can look at your digital ID that's tied to your phone, that's tied to your ISP, and then they can go to your job and be like, hey, this guy's antiseptic, and whoop-de-whoop-de-woo. And then get your ass cut out of the system. You try to get a bank account, you can't. You can't cross a border. You can't get benefits because you didn't get a fucking clot shot. It's worse than North Korea. Quiet as kept. When it comes to North Korea, I always talk about the original scheme of North Korea was brilliant. I'm gonna say it right now, it was. They took the reins of the society, being freed from Japan, into their own hands. And they created a completely self-sufficient country. Completely self-sufficient. They didn't need to trade with anybody. It was a great sense of pride for them. And that was one of the reasons that was the main